Good morning. Today is the 9th of May 2024 and I'm just going to go through my levels and trading ideas for today. And before we start, let's just have a moment's thought for a good friend and my mentor, David Wygant, who passed away a year ago today. So it's always a sad time. Okay, so levels for today. I'm just going through my pre-market plan. I've got my levels up here. This is what I'm watching. A few more since the news has moved as well. So before we start, let's take a look at the news. And we've had jobless claims come in at 8:30. We saw a bit of a positive reaction to that, and then there's no more news until about 1 o'clock today, 1 PM Eastern time. We've got the 30-year bond, we've got Fed speaking at 2, so not a massive news day. I won't be around tomorrow, but there is news tomorrow. We've got Fed speaking, and you've got Fed speaking during the day as well. So it could be might be a decent day for moving the market tomorrow. Okay, so levels for today. We've been trading in this range now for about 3 days. So this range here, and we want to see it kind of break out of that area, probably more of that range. This is the range we're watching. So I'm watching for a breakout of this area. I'm only going to be around for the first 30 minutes of the trading day today, so what I'm really looking for in this 30 minutes would be a break and retest of the pre-market high in yesterday's low area, and that's around 52.20. You could probably look for, no, it's got to get above these pivots as well. It's got to break it and retest it. So 52.17 to 52.20, break and retest long is what I'm watching for. If we can come back down into this area, then just to continue with this range we've been sitting in, we can watch for a bounce. This also happens to be bounced perfectly from the daily 618 fibs line, and on the daily, let's just go to the daily. And the daily, the fibs were drawn from the all-time highs down to the recent lows, and we had the 50%. You saw we couldn't break the 50% last week, and then came down, rejected it, broke it, retested it, and we did the same with the 618. We broke it and retested it again yesterday. So it's an area to watch. It's an area of confidence as well. You can see clearly on the daily, you've got tops of candles, bottoms of candles, and then more bottoms of candles there, and then a break and retest. So I do, based on, let's go back to the daily, I just switched it, based on where we are at the moment, I do favour a break and retest or a long trade more. However, you can see here the volume's been declining whilst the price has been increasing, and that's a bit of a red flag anyway. So I'm expecting the market to turn. We could just be consolidating, going sideways for a bit before we make another move up, but this is a decline. This is classic VPA, volume price analysis. Increase in price, decrease in volume, showing that the market's getting more and more exhausted at this end, and potentially on the higher time frame or the long term area, we could be looking, maybe if it does what we think it's going to do, a bit of a lower high double top. So we can keep an eye out for that as well. If it was to make a lower high, this area here, area of confidence, you've got tops of candles, bottoms of candles, you've got a bit of a buffer into that area as well. So we could be watching 52.43 through to about 52.60, 52.70, or even 52.5300 psychological number, if we're looking for a lower high. But that'd be on the daily, that'd be like a swing trade type play. If we do go up into these areas and volume's still reducing, then I'll be looking for a swing short somewhere, probably by SQQQ, which is the inverse of QQQ, and there's a ES equivalent as well. And so that's where we are. So let's go back into the hourly. I can't remember what the ES equivalent is. I'll dig it out. Okay, so we're watching for a break and retest of the pre-market high, preferably yesterday's high, which is this level. I've got an alert sitting there as well, 52.17, and we can watch for a bounce back down at pre-market low area, or maybe back down at the fibs area, and we could just be continuous trend for a day or two. If we do break below the 618, below 51.90, I would quite fancy a break and retest short, which I've not. 51.90, I've got it down as a bounce, but I also quite like the break and retest of that area short. The reason I like it short is because there's a big void below, and there's nothing really to stop us until we get to this area of confluence, and even then the volume over here is lacking, so there's a big void below, so we could see a decent move down if we can get down to that area. So that's the areas I'm watching. Keep it simple. If we rip up, if we rip and we rally, then we've got 52.50, an area watching yesterday for a rejection as well, and we've also got 51.50 for a bounce area. That's my preferred bounce area if we do sell off. It's coming into the 50% fibs area confluence. There's a bit of volume to the left, not as much as there is up here, but also we've got the 200 moving average sitting there as well. So get rid of that. It's also a data candle from a date, was it FOMC last week? Well, I'm not sure. No, that was there. But anyway, I quite like this area here, 51.54 bounce as well. If it gets down there, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but that's an area to watch for. Okay, looking at SPY next. Pretty much same play. I quite like the rejection in this area of supply, and that area is around 55.19.50 for rejection, and anywhere you can watch anywhere in that zone, 518.40 to 519.50, 519 and 518.50 in fact maybe a more short-term rejection, because we've got pivot from yesterday, and it also matches this. See, I want to go long on ES, but SPY looks like a nice rejection of their double top. So you've got to be careful. If you're going to go long, you don't really want to go long into this area of support. So just be a bit wary. Even though that's my favourite idea, I just need to be wary of that, because we have got that pivot above here as well on the ES. Let's go back to SPY. We will look at SPX next as well. If we get back down into this area, I quite like the bounce down at 515 area, and that's this area of demand, used to be support, supply, and then the best areas is probably all the way back down here around the 510 area again. Let's just mark that off with an hourly level, 510 for a bounce, and I like that area because we've got bottoms of pivots over here, we've got volume on the profile, we've got this big area where it consolidates, there's lots of volume in that area. We broke it, retested it a couple of times in that area as well. So that's really the area, and the same as ES we looked at. Let's quickly go to SPX. Okay, so if we do the break and retest on ES, we're going to see where we open up. Have we gapped up today, did we? Let's just go with regular hours. No, not really. In fact, we're probably not far off where we closed yesterday. Let's go SPX again. So we're probably going to open around yesterday's high area, around that area. So we've got a potential double top as well. Big volume. Look at the volume profile over here. So SPX, oh look at that, and it's 52,000. So let's just mark that off. You know, we rejected that perfectly yesterday. We can watch 52,000 for a reject on SPX. However, on ES, that's kind of where we are now. We'll see where SPX opens. If we open or we close above 52,000 up here, then we look for a break and retest. If we open below 52,000, I don't really want to go long until we get over 52,000. So that's not as good as we thought this initial trade, 52.20 break and retest. So just keep an eye on that. So it'd be high risk if you do go long, purely because we'll be going long into potential overhead resistance on SPX. Bounce wise, 51.20 down this area I quite like. got a weekly level there. I've got 51.37, and that's an area of confidence as well. Not a massive amount of volume coming into it, but there's a bit of a volume shelf below. And then rejection wise, 52.10 above, which is this area. You can see it's bottoms of candles and it's tops. All these candles, we sat there for a while, broke it, come back up, retested it, come back up, retested it again. So potentially we could retest it another time. So 52.10 rejection on SPX. NQ, I still like 18.336 for rejection up here, but we can also watch this double top, which is right on this point of control. You can see this big volume profile going right through the middle. Couldn't break it yesterday, so we can also watch 18.285 for a reject of double top. Again, it goes against the ES where I want to go look for break and retest long. So maybe two conflicting ideas is probably a sign not to trade. Didn't have a very good day trading yesterday. In fact, I started off well, then I had a big tilt in the middle, revenge trade. I made a mistake, and then instead of me just coming out of the mistake I made, I just amplified it by adding to it, and it wasn't good. And then I kind of revenge traded as well, and then I ended the day with a decent trade. But it's one of those things, if you take enough trades, you're bound to get at least one decent trade out of it. So it wasn't a great day, and today I'm taking a bit of time off a bit early. That's why I'm only trading for the first 30 minutes, and then tomorrow I'm away, and I'm at a funeral tomorrow, and I've got a camp I'm organising for 150 scouts, so over the weekend, so I'll be away organising that, which I'll be doing a bit of it tonight as well. So, and we've got glorious weather here in the UK. First time this year we've actually had 2 days of sun in a row, and it's given it 21 degrees Celsius on Friday and Saturday. So for me, that's a hot summer. Right, Nasdaq, rejection, double top. We can watch SSI, and that's at 18.240. If we get up into 18.340, then up to 18.300, then I like this area for rejection. And then bounce, the only place I like for the bounce is this level here, and that's at 17.933, maybe down to 17.900, which is our point of control as well. So it's a big area, so you know there's volume down here, so we can use that as a potential area of resistance. QQQs, we're coming into, let's go to the daily. You see declining volume, exactly the same as ES. So as the price was declining, price was coming down, the volume was increasing, and now as it's pulling back, the volume is decreasing. And this is classic VPA. So we've got this yellow line is the weekly trend line, which goes back almost 24 years to the year 2000, and well, not almost, exactly 24 years. And you can see we kind of hovered around it. We're right through the middle of it in early February, March, and then we eventually broke down. I talked about this probably before. I was talking about this trend line beginning of the year before we even got into it. I said keep an eye on it. We came down, and look what we've done. We've come up. We're kind of stopped dead on this trend line now. Same as SPY and ES, they got their trend lines nearby as well. And whether we're going to break it or reject it, I don't know. But if you were to take a bet, that's basically what we do with trading. We've got this decline in volume, and to me that's exhaustion in the market, and that's no better place for it to reject than off of the 24-year trend line. And we'll look at that on SPY for a second as well. Here we go. So we kind of broke through it, and now we're going to retest it and push up, but it's a 24-year trend line, so I'm not taking it as a line in the sand. It's an area, so we could be watching this entire area really. You know. So you know, we've poked through, rejected it, come back into it, hold it maybe, and then push down. That's kind of what I think it should do. Seeing declining volume on SPY as well. Oh, wrong one. Need the arrow ahead. See this declining volume on SPY as well. Makes me want to think it's going to do that, but just want to play the chart. So let's go back into QQQ for some levels. Back into the hourly. What time we've got? 15 minutes before the market opens. We've got plenty of time. So I like the bounce down here at 433. I also like the bounce at 436.25, and that's an area of confidence. Bottoms of candles, a few tops over here as well. And then I also like the double top 442 for a rejection as well. So that's, and then if we do get up into this area, we've got 446 rejection as well. But we have to get through this trend line, and look at this trend line. Even though I'm taking it as a wide, you want to see it as a wide berth, we've got massive volume in that area with a point of control. Trend line touch, touched there, rejected, broke through, came back, hovered around the trend line, hovered around it, kind of consolidated, touched it, rejected, broke through, rejected, came through, came back up, rejected it, back down, back up, rejected it, finally got through it again. You can't tell me this trend line's not being taken notice of. Gap down almost to the trend line, and then we hovered there for a few days, and then we broke through. Look at that, we came back, retested it again, back up, broke down. Even though there's 2 days, we've got the close and opening of a day right on the trend line as well. Let's clear that, and you can see kind of hovered around above and below it, and then finally we broke up. We tested it there, rejected it, came back in, tested, rejected, and then we broke it. Came back down, gap down to it, and then came back up, came through it again, fake breakout, came back down, and then look at that, we're testing it, rejected it, back down. So what's going to happen? Are we going to finally break through and just do what we've seen before, or is this the definitely being taken notice of? It's hard to say. This trend line's not been taken notice of at all, or it's just a massive coincidence. So based on that, let's go back into the hourly. So we're in the hourly. So I quite like a rejection on this, off this trend line up here. So 442 rejection, and the best bounce is 433. And you can watch 446.74 rejection, and that's it for Qs. We've done SPX. Let's look at crude oil. How about that? We talked about these levels yesterday. I had this level in place. We bounced off it on, what's that? That was Tuesday. Come through, we hovered, and we had this area of demand. And I even had a look at my alert. I didn't get alerted to it, but I was almost smack bang on. That's the area I wanted to be alerted on. And then that's a great bounce. So we've broken this trend line. So we've got this channel we've been watching for a few days. So it's a fake breakdown. So we broke it, came back, bit of a retest of the channel, and then we saw strength. We haven't really come back to retest. There was a little bit of a retest there. You could put a level in maybe along there as a retest area, and we haven't really found a bit of a pullback yet, but we're starting to have it now. If we were to pull back, what level would I watch? Probably not too far from where it is now. So let's just put that level in. Let's go with the drawings, and that is 78.98. Oh, we know this number. No, 79. Yeah, 79 on the dot. We know this number. We've spoken about this number a few times. I bet if we go back, one thing to look before I go back while we're here is the volume shelf in that area as well. So come back in, potentially could hold it and push up. So you can watch that area for a bounce. Remember 78, I could say 79. Here we go. I remember this area quite clearly in March. Held it, broke through it, and then we came back, retested it again there. And I'm sure we've had this area. Here we go. Add that area as well back in November, and October as well. So this is an area area of confluence as well. So it's a decent area to watch for a bounce, but we've got all this volume below, so we've got a big area of natural resistance, natural support as well. So that's the only play I like. If we break over pre-market high, we can look for a break and retest long as well, and we have to get over this 200 moving average, break it above it, and come back and retest. Hopefully the retest holds above the 200 as well. That's what you should look for. Gold, which is GC. I don't know about you, but I'm looking at a potential rather long inverse head and shoulders. We've got the left shoulder, got the head area here, this entire area. Maybe this is the right shoulder forming. The neckline is this line here. Area we've been watching as well. That's the neckline there. So 23.43, you could probably say 23.50. Break and retest long. Or we can watch it for rejection as well. And if we break below 2300, we can look for shorts. The volume dries up, so if we go look to the left on this volume profile, there's not much volume in that area. So if we do look for shorts, we can watch it break down. We've got the point of control right down here, so there's a big void. So there's two let plays really: break and retest long or break and retest short. That's the only ones to watch for gold. I'm going to put an alert in because if we do break down, it'd be nice to be part of the action. So I've got an alert set at 22.94, so basically it breaks below 2300. I'm looking at the pivots as well. I wanted to get past these pivots or break and retest in this area. 20. I don't want it to go, if it breaks and it goes back over 2300, that's not, I don't really want to do that. Okay, RTY. I had an alert for RTY this morning. What was that for? Let's go to my alerts. PPS. These are really old ones. Sort by triggering newest first. RTY. So it was it crossing 2070? Okay, so we spiked up. I think it was that's an alert set in for a break and retest yesterday. So it's kind of broken it, retested it in an uptrend, or it might have been setting up for the right hand shoulder potentially, but we never got there. So I'll ignore that for now. And we broke the trend, come back down. If we get back down to the 2020 area, I quite like the bounce down here. Let's just put that level in. Got an alert to notify me we get back down in that area. And then I think the alert was reminding me that we might be breaking up here for a double top. And I quite like 2080 to 87 for a rejection. Point control up there. But I'm not a big fan of this chart at the moment. You could be looking at an inverse head and shoulders pattern for a move down. So maybe watch for a break and retest low of yesterday's low, pre-market low. That double, it's got to break it, come back and retest it. And that will be around 20.55. That's it really. Okay, YM. Look at that for a bounce. Level was in place, been in place for a while. Came back in, bounced yesterday. Oh no, I don't think I put that level. I think that I put that level in because of that area in the pre-market. But I would have probably naturally chosen it anyway by looking at the confluence, bottoms of candles, bottoms of pivots. I meant bottoms of this area, bottoms here, tops there. Was that FOMC? So that is an area I'll be watching. I can't remember if I put that in yesterday or not, but it's an area confluence, so we can watch that area again. 38,900, 38,945 for a bounce. And then obviously in an uptrend, hourly uptrend, if I were to find I'm going to move this level down to about here. Reason that I like to use more recent pivots rather than older ones, and we can watch 39, 38 if we're for a rejection, and potentially we can watch pre-market high for a break and retest. But you got yesterday's high above at 39,320 and 39,171 break and retest long. And then Bitcoin, last I looked, it was given. Yeah, there you go. We talked about this head and shoulders pattern yesterday. The neckline is there. Broke it, retested it. When was that? On Monday. Quite clearly you can see the break and retest. Come back in, it's put in a series of lower lows and lower highs. You can probably draw a trend line. Let's just draw one in to see where it leaves us. Just take the bodies of the candles. And then on trading view, if you hold down the control button, I always like to do this, just clone it. You can pretty much draw in the channels. I'll just put there as a guide. And we're kind of trading between this channel. So let's us, if we can get above yesterday's low, break and retest, it would be a break of this channel as well. We can look for a long. However, we do have the 50 moving average above, so that'd be hard into that. And we've got this resistance here. So it'd be a hard long. And if we get down, we can look for a long coming off this channel as well. You know, that's all I can see really on Bitcoin at the moment. Rejection wise, I still quite like the rejection up here at 63,050. Maybe a little bit lower than that. Probably, in fact, I prefer yesterday's high. Area of confidence, in fact, bottoms of candles that came in perfectly. Break and retest, come back into the same area again. So a little double top and then rejected. But that's looking weaker. Don't get much volume on here. I'm not sure whether this BTC USD has volume in Coinbase or not. It'd be interesting to see what the volume's like. Okay, before I go, let's look at ES again. See what's happened in the last few minutes. Okay, so if we put in a new high, I think we have a new pre-market high, 905. Yeah, so we put in a new pre-market high, and I still quite like the. This is better now for the play we was talking about because they're a bit closer together. Yesterday's high and pre-market high. I still quite like the break and retest long, but we do have to be wary of SPY, which above it's got a little bit of resistance, and then SPX. We've got that level, 52,000 level as well. We don't really want to go long into 52,000, so just watch that area. I'm not sure where we're going to open up. Probably similar to where we closed yesterday's high. I think, is that where we are now? Yesterday's high, about there. Well, we're opening around about where we closed yesterday, maybe a little bit higher. So yesterday's high. So this is the area we possibly will open up. So yeah, I don't like the long into this yesterday's high on SPX, which is also psychological on 52,000. So I would probably be inclined not to take the break and retest, but it's all dependent on what SPX is doing and where SPY is. I have 3 thumbnails just above on my screen, just up there, and it shows me S&P E-mini futures, shows me the ETF as well, it's SPY. So it shows me ES, SPY and the SPX. So I kind of, before I get into trade, I glance at them just to see where they are. And it should, lines I draw in here should globally sync, but they never do. But I kind of know the areas. So I only look at these, I focus my time only on ES, so I'm only looking at ES. And so I know where the levels are anyway without having a chart. I could probably just trade ES using a, just by typing in the price, because I know all my levels as well, and I do store my levels as well here, and I put it in our Discord as well, so I know what I'm playing. These are my, gives me an idea. I know in advance what levels I'm watching for. Right, that's it. Market opens in 1 minute. Next up will be the order flow, bit like that, and the order flow will be live in just a few minutes. Okay, thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful and useful, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe, and you'll get notified when there is additional videos. I want to start making a few more reversal videos soon as well. So any ideas for videos, leave a comment as well. Okay.